So welcome everyone to the first of many, hopefully, good calls with the one and only Mark Buffa. I'm ecstatic to have you guys. This has been a project that I've been working on for a couple of years and just never executed on it. And I'm glad that we're talking today about time management, obviously. And there's a couple other people that are supposed to be on this call, and obviously they're late. So I guess this is going to be good for them.
It's pretty
So
ironic.
that's it. And you know, one of our friends who's supposed to be my co-host is late, so that's not good. So
Amazing.
again, thanks everyone for being with us. Again, my name's Mark Buffa, president of Buffa Distribution, also creator of the Spectre Bowling app. Been through multiple coaching phases in my life. Not only on the sporting aspect of it, been at the top of my game in the bowling world, 9-time Team Canada national member, gold medalist at the World Championships in 2013, and a whole slew of other accomplishments. So really grateful for that, and kind of turned a page back in 2012 on the business side, and was able to grow with obviously the help from the great staff that we have. We have 22 great employees that work for us at Buffa Distribution, and since 2012 we went from gross revenue of just around 3 million to last year at a record high of 7.2 million. So you know, we've done a lot. I've learned a lot from a lot of great people, and this call of among others is just something for me to be able to give back to the people that have helped me out, to also maybe try and reach out to others and kind of just help everyone else out, you know, like so we'll wait a couple minutes for some other people to jump in. Obviously my co-host Jonny was supposed to be in here with us. Wonder, maybe he's caught up with a client or something. Computer bugging coming from the gym guy. There you go. And that's going on YouTube after, Jonny, so throwing you under the bus. Okay, so just to start off with you guys, the format for today's call, and we want to try to keep this quick. We know that you guys have a life outside, and if you hear my kids crying or walking into the room, well, that's going to be it. So again, Hervé, welcome to the call. Glad to have you. We're still waiting on a couple more people, so we'll be getting on that shortly.
Mark, I know we spoke earlier. I just wanted to again thank you very much for putting this together, and I hope it spins off into a lot of other calls, and I hope it's going to work out well. And again, I really appreciate your time and taking and your effort in putting this together.
Thanks, Giuliano. Listen, this is something that, like I said, we've been working on this on and off. Giuliano, you were part of the group. When was it? Probably about a year ago, and we had a great throughput on that. And basically, this is just going to be the follow-up on that. So, really looking forward to what we can talk about. Obviously, just using Facebook as a medium to kind of get this started, but obviously we want to see this grow organically, and that's with your guys' help, obviously, to make this happen. So, still waiting on a couple people here. So sorry for the delay, everyone. I know everybody's on a tight schedule. Hervé, welcome to the call. Testing, 1, 2. Well, let's ask around the room then, since we're waiting on some people. Let's start with you, Karen, since you were the first one to come into the room. Sorry to call you out as first one.
That's okay.
I guess, Karen, introduce yourself to the group, and I guess what spiked your interest in this, and what are you looking to get out of these?
Okay, so my name is Karen Wilson, and I am a former bowling mom who ended up being a bowling organizer. And I'm still active in the elite junior bowling scene in Quebec. So I've been around a lot of bowling alleys, a lot of kids, and I think what interests me in this call, obviously, Mark, you're a captivating person. We know that you're dynamic, you're awesome. We know that. But I share with you that calling for learning of this type. So all of the topics that you mentioned, I can never choose just one. I think discussion amongst peers is really interesting. I think learning how a successful person like you manages all of these different topics is interesting to me. And I'm looking for some good tips on how I can improve myself at the same time. So
Great. Thanks for sharing.
That's what I
Thank
got.
you. Giuliano, you're next. What you got?
All right, so my name is Giuliano Ficara. Recently started a health and wellness company. Didn't want to really consider it a personal training. I'm really more about the mind-body connection and obviously healthy mind, healthy body. So recently started that. It's almost a year now. I've known Mark maybe it's roughly about a year and a half. We had started with the first peer group, and honestly, out of these sessions or out of these calls, I'm just trying to see, and obviously, as history says, that we always learn from whoever has been there, done that kind of thing. I know that from the conversations I have with Mark, he is sort of presently in the situation that I want to be in very soon. So obviously, we can learn from him. We can learn from each other. And what I've learned from being in these different peer groups is that as much as you think you have so much to bring to the table, or you don't have anything to bring to the table because you're the lack of a better term, the less intelligent, or like let's say the least experienced one, you somehow end up affecting someone somehow, some way. So, like I said, although I'm relatively young or new to the business industry, I hope to be able to help out anybody, and I look forward to getting some feedback and also learning from all of you guys.
Great. And Giuliano, I know we've talked about this in the past, but a lot of what you had said is obviously limiting beliefs. So we will definitely touch on that in a future topic.
Awesome.
So we've got Benoit and Hervé kind of tuning in and out. I guess they're having some connection issues, maybe with the microphones and stuff. I guess chime in, guys, if you're there. No beans. Okay. Well, this is going great. Okay. All right, finally we got Jonny in the room. There we go. Make a presenter. Here we go. Jonny, welcome to the group. Jonny, welcome. Hello. Jonny, there, buddy?
Hello?
Hey, there he is.
Hey, all right.
Man of the hour.
Sorry, man. My computer was freaking frozen.
Yeah, it's the computer.
I'm going to tell you, man.
Great.
User error.
All right, everyone. So we can now get started. 10 minutes late into our time management call.
Technology. Let me tell you.
Thanks to the one and only Jonny Likoray. Jonny, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
So again, I guess I'll do the intro again, thanks to Johnny's lateness.
Okay,
so,
I got it, man.
Hey,
sorry.
I get to throw you under the bus for another half hour, so believe it.
Okay.
Okay, so again, everyone, welcome. My name is Mark Buffa. This has been a long-standing project that I've been jumping back and forth with a bunch of my friends and people that surround me that everyone thought this would be a great idea, so here we are. The idea behind these calls is to be able to give back, help you guys out, help myself out too, because the best way to learn is to also teach what you know. So, and also learn from peers around me. Like I wrote in the email, my favorite quote is proximity is power. So if you suck at something, hang out with someone that's better at that than you are, and you'll get the disease. So that's pretty much it. So I myself, president of Buffa Distribution, second generation. in the family, been in business since 1980. My father started the company. I've been at the helm since 2012. Have helped the company grow to 22 employees and now grossing 7.2 million in revenue from 3 million about 5 years ago. So things are great for us and continually growing year after year and learning more and more. And my co-host today, and hopefully this will now become a thing between Jonny and I, Jonny Likoray. We've been working together since
2009.
2009. Jonny was my fitness coach, or still is. And Jonny introduced me to the coaching game. Introduced me to Tony Robbins. I've been personally to 2 Tony Robbins seminars, Business Mastery, which is a $10,000 ticket, which I highly recommend to anybody, and also Unleash the Power Within. Since then, I've read a lot, learned a lot. Jonny's been helping me out.
I taught him how to read.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no problem.
So obviously, you've been an empowering person to me, and I'm glad to have you on these calls with us. And I'm just looking forward to a great time.
Same here.
So,
well,
Jonny, introduce yourself real quick.
Jonny Likoray, been coaching people since long time, 2002. I was teaching at Concordia for 4 years in the exercise science department. Decided to leave that, this secure job at a university, so that I can work for myself. Had my own personal training business, for those of you who know that. Then got to live out my boyhood dream of having my own gym. It's been 6 years. We've had some ups, some downs. We've had some partner issues. We've had some vandalism issues, if you will. We've had a bunch of stuff happening. Yeah, but we're still here. We're still kicking. Business is still good. Best it's ever been. So I am privileged and honored to be here with Mark. We've been working together, like I said, for 8 years. And we definitely push each other in every sense of the word. So in different areas, not just business, not just physically, but mentally and family-wise and stuff, we're able to really go back and forth on a lot of topics. And I agree with Mark that you need a team around you, and you got to find, everybody's got something to give you, not looking, and you have something to give everybody. So just bounce ideas around and learn from people, and that's why we're here. And I'm hoping to be able to teach the people here and others, whoever is interested, in what we've spent many countless hours learning, many hours reading and just discussing and experimenting and doing a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of stuff doesn't work, but a lot of stuff does, and that's why we're here. So let's get to it. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So the way that we're going to work is obviously we started a little bit late, but what we will do is we will take over the conversation for the first 3/4 of it, and then we'll open it up to questions, comments, so on and so forth. So if ever anything raises your brow during the conversation, please type it in the chat box, probably on the left-hand side of your screen, bottom side. So do that, or if that doesn't work, because this is our first call and we might have some technical difficulties, just unmute your microphone and interrupt us. Okay. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is bounce a couple of questions off of you, Jonny, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there. So one of the things that we hear a lot of, and you guys have probably said it to someone, either your significant other or someone around you, is I don't have enough time. So I guess the first question is, what is the concept of time? Why do we always say that we not have enough of it? So Jonny, give us a little 2 cents on that.
So the question is, why don't we have enough time? It's just because this is, again, a lot of this stuff here, just to give you guys a disclaimer, is we're going to go based on what we've known and what we've experimented with. I think that people don't have enough time because you're trying to do too much. We have so many distractions. We have so many things in our life that we feel we need to do, when in reality, we don't. We tend to prioritize the shit that doesn't matter. So my opinion is to spend time doing the things that will give you the most fulfillment, and also to be very efficient with your time. Now, I don't know if I'm going on too far, Mark. You can cut me if I am. But one of the things that I learned is that take a look at how long a task will take you before actually doing it. Like if I said I needed to, example, clean my office, which I do, I could look at this and go, okay, this might take 3 hours. And then if you kind of go, well, I'll just start and see what happens. If you put yourself a time limit, you tend to do it in that time limit. So I said, listen, I got an hour and a half to do this. You're going to make sure you got no distractions, because that's what kills your time. So yeah, I feel people say they have no time just because they don't schedule anything and they don't put a time limit on it. It's like training. Oh, I'm going to go train. Next thing you know, if you're here for 2.5 hours, you're in trouble, man, because you can't sustain that on a weekly basis, training 5 times a week for 2.5 hours. So,
right.
Yeah.
So let me add a little bit onto that. You said a couple of good words that I wanted to bring up. Priorities. You said you need to prioritize some things, and it recently happened to us. I did an exercise that we will probably be talking about over the next couple of weeks. A brainstorming exercise with our entire staff. It took me 4 days to do it. And one of the things I was trying to teach the staff was to not live on a to-do list, and that's going to come up also on the bottom there, but to also understand that the word priority is one priority, not a list of priorities. So what you need to do is you need to set out and say, what am I going to accomplish today? And like Jonny said, really, what do you want to get the most fulfillment out of your day, so you can turn around at the end of the day and says, okay, I maybe didn't accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish, but what I did, and I'm going to drop some F-bombs on these calls, I'm going to fucking smash it, and that's what I accomplished to do today. So really, that's the big thing. And the other thing too, on the business side of it, I know that talking money and talking business is very taboo in the world today, but in the end, people say that they don't have enough time, but like Jonny, you work on an hourly basis. If you don't charge for your time, then you're not giving yourself any self-worth. So if you are some sort of service employee or anything that you do, please don't undervalue your time. Like I know Karen, yourself, like when you introduce yourself, you do a lot of volunteer work and you help in the coaching aspect of it. But the only thing I want to tell you is don't shortchange what you give to the people as well, because your time is valuable. So you need to understand that if you think that you don't have enough time, are you getting value out of the time that you are spending too? That's the other aspect I wanted to touch on. So
I think there's one thing. I just gave this to a guy who's probably going to watch this when we're done. He was giving a speech about financial, not abundance, but that's what I'm looking for, management. And he was talking about time and that. I'm like, and if I asked you like time is and fill in the blank, most people would say time is money. And especially if you look at the business world, people say time is money, and that's not the case. Time is everything. There's nobody who had a sum of money that was able to buy more time. So you really need to be super, super strategic with your time. And I'm fortunate enough, I think, in my life, and I might not be making tens of millions of dollars, but I'm very fulfilled with how I spend my time. And I think that's where people get frustrated with time management, is because they spend a lot of time doing things that they don't enjoy, and then they just feel like there's no time left for all the stuff that they really want to do. So time is everything. That's my philosophy.
Yeah, and same thing like you said. Once you feel fulfilled for it, you don't even see the time. Like, how many times do you turn around when you're having fun with somebody, you look at your watch and you're like, really? It's already done? Because you're having a good time, you're not keeping track of it. But when you're sitting in class and you hate listening to, the Cal 2 or something like that, the hour takes so long for it to go. So let's move on to the second question that I had was, daily struggles. Let's discuss some of the things that maybe some people run into on a daily basis, scenarios, and how they were conquered. And I'll get started on this one, Jonny, because when I saw you today, that was the first thing I said. I says, fuck, I had a crazy day today. And the first thing I told you is because I didn't schedule anything today. My schedule was blank today, and it turned into a total fiasco where I went to the airport, went to the South Shore, then went to lunch with a supplier, and then I had the gym, which was pushed back half hour, and thank God for that. And so one of the struggles that I have at times is definitely just to schedule myself. And if you guys want to take a little bit of a glimpse of my schedule, I could do that for you. So this is my Outlook calendar. And basically, like, what I do is I try to color code stuff if I'm on trips or things like that, and I really try to block time. And one of the programs that I had done over the past was Time of Your Life from Tony Robbins, and one of the things that really stuck with me when it comes to the daily struggles is that if you want it to be real, you have to schedule it. So if you don't take time to do what you want to set out to do, then it never becomes real, because you can't make it a reality because you're not setting time for that. So Jonny, chime in. Give me a little heads up on what you think on this.
I think scheduling is most important, and I think one of the things that I learned is I hate you saying prioritizing, because like you said before, priority is a singular word. It's not plural. You can't have multiple priorities. It's like saying, if you're in a hospital and you got 10 people walk in, you can treat one at a time. You can't treat all 10. So you have to select that priority. And you got to do that at the beginning of the week, I think. That worked best for me when I would schedule what's most important. So, example, if I know I have to train, let's say 4 times, I'm going to book that in. If I have to take certain clients, or I tell myself this is when I'm going to work, I'll make sure I get that done. But if it's something, something stupid, I guess, for lack of a better word, if it's just like, man, I really need a new tie or something. I don't wear ties, but I need to pick up a new tie. If it's really not a priority for me, I'm really not going to go and bust my head about saying, I got to get that done. Because you mentioned to-do list. The problem with those is that we have a tendency to just knock off as many things and feel like we actually accomplished something. But most of the time, the thing that you want to do the most is not there. And the thing that's going to, and forgive me for putting this in there, maybe this is not the purpose of the call, but there's some stuff that you have to, life is supposed to be fun. And if you don't schedule anything that's fun, or if you don't have anything that's fulfilling, that you're not putting in your schedule and going, I have to do this. And I'm not talking about a vacation you do once a year, but on a weekly basis, life is going to be really shitty, and you're not going to want to do anything. It's just going to be a spiraling effect that's going to put you in a negative state. So schedule the things that are important to you and treat them like it's a dentist appointment that you only have once every 6 months. Like, I'm serious. Like, when people like, yeah, but I have this. I'm like, no, man, if you treat this like it's an appointment, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to continue to, like, if it's the gym, schedule it. You're not going to miss it. It's done. It's a given.
I agree. And we went through that. We scheduled. I'm on what, week 13 now, back on track.
Yeah.
And we have yet to miss one. Knock on wood. But it's something that we scheduled and we made it happen. And that's something I actually even told my staff, because one of the things, like you said, if you schedule a dentist appointment, as an example, as blatant as it is, you don't want to be late, because you're like, man, like, this guy's like super busy, he's probably overbooked, and you don't want to ruin his day. So like, you get there 15 minutes early, and even if like you're missing the bus or whatever, and then like I myself, if we go back to my schedule, I schedule weekly meetings with my directors. We've got 6 directors here because we have 6 different departments, and that's the thing, is we do weekly meetings. These are all these purple blocks, and all the purple blocks are it's an hour meeting. They usually last maybe an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and the guys would always arrive late, and I was like, guys, like, fuck, you get an email notification, you get a beep, you get like, everything just blows up on your phone that you have to be in a meeting, and you still show up 15 minutes late. And like, the way that it's changed ever since. Now it's been about 6 months that my guys show up on time all the time, but the way that I got through to them was exactly like you said, Jonny. Do you respect the time of the person that you are going to see? Then respect your schedule, respect yourself, and also respect the person on the receiving end of it. And then as soon as I brought that onto the plate, I'm like, yeah, you're right, because I said I got other shit to do too, so if I'm scheduling something at 11:30, I got to get the fuck out of there at 11:30 so I could go out to lunch with, the next, big thing in the bowling world for us to get to the next level. So, I think that's the other thing too is if you're in a team environment and a business environment, like, don't sugarcoat it. Like, basically just say, like, listen, we scheduled this. You can't respect this time frame. Then either you say, tell me what time fits for you, or just fucking show up on time, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
I think people. Sorry to cut you off. I think people that are on this call that even expressed interest, and some people can't make it. That told us, it's just not a good time or whatever. I think people want to learn about time management so that you can do more of the things you want to do. Like, nobody wants to go like, man, I just want to learn how to manage my time better so that I can work 20 more hours a week. I don't think that's the case, unless I'm wrong. But I think you want to be able to say, listen, I got some time for me or for my friends, or, you want to pick up a hobby or learn something new. I think that's what we want time for. So kind of scheduling stuff and putting a time limit on it. Like, if you have an hour meeting, like, it's an hour. Don't take 20 minutes to get it started. Like, we're going to maximize the hour and then it's gone. Like, yep. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want the hour to become 2 hours, so to speak.
Yep.
So
if the content's good, then it's understandable, but there are times where we will cut that meeting short because there's other things behind it too. And we could get into the planning phase of that, because I even shared with you, Jonny, the meeting notes template that we use for our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, if once the time passes, it's almost like a beeper goes off. It's like, okay, we're done. And if we didn't get through like all the talking points, all the bullets, then it goes to the next week, because it just didn't fit in the schedule. So let's get into the dreaded to-do list, because that word did creep in at least 5 times since we started the call.
Yeah.
So one of the things, and I've played around with this, if the people that know me, I'm a tech geek also, graduated in computer science, and I'm always trying to find the next best thing, and that's going to come up too in the next little side. But I hate the to-do list in Outlook. I think it sucks, and I don't use it. And I'm still somebody that I still want to improve my time management, but I don't think it's the to-do list that's going to help me out. So again, and the word that I put in the email was to-do list / priorities, and I'll turn around and give you guys a real life scenario that happened to me last week. I was just explaining that priorities should not be plural, and I actually did check it out online yesterday, and the first definition is singular and the second one is plural, but it's more of not a pronoun, but it's a noun still, but it's used in a different context when it's pluralized. So I was talking with one of our guys at the office, and I says, there's no such thing as a list of priorities, it's just an embellished to-do list. And he says, no, because my top priority is my fitness. And I turned around and says, no, your priority is fitness. Everything else is second nature. Like, that's not your top priority, So I guess what we're also trying to say with this, when it comes to time management, if you schedule it and it's in your schedule and you are working on that at that specific time, well, guess what? That becomes your priority, and you smash it out and it becomes fulfilled, and you are happy when you get to the end of the day and you move on to the next priority. Correct?
Yeah. I think I think people take great pleasure. Now, I haven't had to do a CV in 15 years, give or take, maybe 10 when I started at Concordia. But people love to put on that they can multitask. Like, I could do 4 things at once. No, you can't. It means you're doing 4 things shitty. So if you're looking at priorities, it should be singular, but that doesn't mean that you can't have, different priorities in the week. Like, my priority when I'm at home with my little girl who's 2 is to be with her and her alone. So I don't answer the phone. My phone has no notifications when I'm at home. It doesn't vibrate. You can text me 20 times.
That's
and
why you're 10 minutes late.
No, my 10 minutes late is because my computer was completely frozen. I think it's Final Cut Pro when I was editing videos, but whatever. Um, all that to say, like that's just the case because if anything else is going on, there's nothing I can do about it, and my time with her is my time with her. So, there's just too many distractions, whether it be text, Facebook, Instagram, emails, whatever. I got an idea for something. No, I'm gonna spend time with her, and I think that's important too when it comes to your relationships too. I don't know who's in, I think a lot of people here are in relationships. If you're gonna go and be on your phone while you're supposed to be having dinner with someone, or if I'm out with my friends, you know what's crazy? I look around the table and most people have their phone like face, it's like face down, or even if it's face up. My phone's in my pocket, just because I don't want to. I don't have a lot of time with you guys. I don't want to be, divided in 4 or 5 different directions. So you can have different times where you're having a different priority, but when I'm there, I really want to be present. So you can get into like the power of now, and you can get into being, extremely present at a given time. But I think that the more that you're present, the more you're in that zone, the faster you get things done, and the more you could do stuff that you really want to do. So I hate the to-do list. I used to feel like, oh man, I completed shit. Completed like 20 things, and I felt like I completed 0. So.
Yep.
I don't know about you, Mark. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna open up something like some people may have heard it. It's an RPM plan where you kind of list off the result that you want, and which is the R, and the P is the purpose, and then M is your map and how to get things done. We can talk about this another time.
Yep.
But in there, your goal is to kind of like do a capture list. So all the stuff that you really need to do in the week, and then kind of chunk it down. It has to deal with this whole thing of I'm going to make a to-do list, but in reality, I'm just going to kind of go, I need to get the big stuff done. If that's done, the rest is kind of gravy.
Yeah, you're identifying musts with the RPM plan, which is great. But really what I take out of it, just to interrupt you on this, what I like about it, you guys can Google it. It's the RPM method. It's basic blocks, and it makes sense. I've practiced it. I don't use it. I've tweaked it a little bit, however, for our team, because sometimes you do need to give the task to somebody. So I added that as a 4th column. But yeah, one of the things that I really like about it is that you have to assign a purpose to it. And basically, one of the things that my current coach that I'm working with, he says, don't talk to me about your actions, but talk to me about your results. Because if you focus on the result, like, I don't care if a sales guy comes up to me and says, hey, I just signed $2 million of, I don't know, whatever. I really don't care how he did it. I don't care what he spent to do it. Well, obviously, I'll care what he spent to do it. I'm sorry about that. But I just, like, whatever, just get the job done, and we'll talk after. But really, the importance was the result behind it. And he keeps drilling that through my head. Talk to me about your results, not about how you got there, because your journey that you're going to take to get to that result, you're going to have some ups, you're going to have some really massive downs too. But sometimes you need to revisit those downs, but you want to try to focus on your upsides and really what made you rise to the occasion and complete that result. Because if you kept failing and failing and failing, you're not going to accomplish that result. But if you accomplish that result, it means you did something fucking right at one point, right? So hopefully. That's my take on it.
Just to kind of, I guess it expands it to your next point, Mark. But so what is it that you use? Your next point was you wanted to talk about like tools that'll help you. Mm-hmm. So what do you do on a weekly basis to kind of schedule your time?
There's a couple things that I personally use. For those who have been to our offices, every office has a blackboard. So basically what it is every time, like Jonny was saying, every time you have an idea that pops into your head, you guys have probably heard this, like keep a notepad next to your bed, so if you wake up, if you have an idea, you just jot it down. Siri's great for that too. Hey Siri, take a reminder, blah blah blah, or take a note. Microsoft OneNote's a great application too. One of the things I started dabbling with is a new software in the Office 365 platform. It's called Planner. And the beauty of it is, especially if you manage people, is you can assign tasks to people and you can see the progress of where they're at because they can flag, in progress at certain stages. And you can see some checklists, you could see some stuff like that. So if you're managing people, I think it's a good option. But what I like to use for myself, Jonny, is really just capturing a lot. Like anything that comes to mind, I'll mark it on my blackboard. And if it's a must, absolutely, then that day when I walk in, I turn my head, and there's days where I'll walk in, I say, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing today. I'll just look at the board and I'll be like, okay, let's smash this today. And then you feel fulfilled because you got that done. So I think for me, myself, it's a combination of that and also vision, which is going to be a great topic going forward, which was one of the selections on the topic menu was, mission and vision of what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, because the vision aspect of it is long-term and is results-based, like we discussed earlier. So if you have a long-term result, you can chip away at it slowly until you get to it. So that's where I find in my day-to-day operations, that's where the capture phase comes in, and I can easily do it because I see it at a glance. So does that answer your question, sir?
I think so.
Good.
I'd like to bring up, I just want to mention it just because it crossed my mind, and I don't want to forget stuff, but it was there, so I might as well say it. I think to truly understand time management and to maximize your time, you need to know what you want out of your life. Not to bring this bring it too philosophical or spiritual, but if you have no idea what you really want, how the hell are you going to decide where to spend your time? Because then anything you do is really not fulfilling you to its maximum potential. So you're kind of just going like, what the fuck, man? I'm wasting my life here. So sometimes, and this is also something that you should, I believe, schedule time for, is really, we'll call it downtime or thinking time. Like you mentioned, you brainstorm with the people at the office. I think it's great to brainstorm for your life. I've asked people, so like, what do you want to do in life? I get to meet people every day, and some of them I see 2-3 times a week. So you really get to know people on a personal level. And when you ask them, hey, what do you want out of life? Or what did you want to do? They're like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, I don't know. Well, how the hell are you going to know if your life was a quote unquote success? My belief is you don't need to, you don't need to be making $10 million a year to be successful, because if you're miserable every minute of the day, I don't care how much money you have, you're not successful. So take some time and figure out what you want. Like, take a step back, ask some better questions. Then you'll be able to decide what you want, or where you want to spend your time. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a different way to kind of say the vision aspect of it that I was talking about, is to have an idea of where you want to go with your life and what you want to be able to feel fulfilled. Another thing, too, because obviously you guys want to know some of the things that triggered some changes in my personal life and also in Jonny's. One of the books that really changed my outlook on time management is The 4-Hour Workweek from Tim Ferriss. And one of the first things that he says in the book is, if you do not read the book, it's from cover to cover, don't feel bad. As long as you get one piece out of it and you improve on it, then my mission was accomplished. And that's stuck in my brain. So if anything that we had mentioned here today, or even if you thought that this was complete garbage and you just say, hey, I'm just going to improve my management on my Outlook schedule, or you just do like one up what you are doing presently, well, you're already one step ahead, so yeah. Any advancements that you make, go for it. But I highly recommend the 4-Hour Workweek. You could probably smash it, relatively quickly. It's not a tough read. And also on the technological standpoint, he gives a lot of tools, a lot of apps that you could download, a lot of different tools that you could use, some Outlook add-ons, so on and so forth. And also the fact that there's a lot of things that he does that are really like off the wall. Like he says that he checks email like 3 hours a week, which to everyone probably in this chat room is like, yeah,
this guy checks emails. Yeah, I don't check emails often.
Yeah, well, okay.
Well, honestly, that's the same book. I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
When I tell people I don't have notifications on my phone, like you can text, whatever, it doesn't vibrate, doesn't show up on the screen. You might be like, well, why not? What do you have to hide? I have nothing to hide. I just don't want distractions. And that came about after reading that book. I used to get, I used to have a ringer that I knew if it was a text, if it was an email, if it was an instant message, if it was WhatsApp. Now I got nothing. And it's so much better. That honest to God, that small change changed my life, because every time the phone would ring, it's like, oh my God, something's important. No, it's not. There's no email that's life or death. None. Correct. So
yeah, so like you said, Jonny, that aspect there of notifications, same thing here. No pop-ups on my screen, no pop-ups on my phone. I have a send and receive schedule where it doesn't do it automatically, so I only get batches of email at once. Rules was a big one too for me, because I get smashed with a shit ton of emails, especially carbon copies. So if you guys work in a corporate environment where like you're CC'd on everything, to me a CC is like a tap on the shoulder. Hey, FYI, you need to know this. So you don't need to know it right now. So the way that I had set up my inbox, and I'll kind of go back to it so you guys can kind of see what it looks like here. Hang on. So like one of the things here, you see I have inbox CC'd, so this is everything that I'm CC'd on. Newsletters, QP, which is something that we use for business. The app, anything that comes from the app goes there. Backup notifications, you see I got 152 of them. I never check them because I don't need them. We have a group email for the staff. I have alerts from our accounting system, stuff that was automatically forwarded. So like I have all these things here, so if it doesn't land in my inbox, it's probably not important. So these things here, I get to read them after. You see, I have 2 CCs from 5 o'clock this morning and noon. I haven't even got to them because, honestly, I don't really need to read them right away. It could be something that I could treat later. So the rules aspect of Outlook definitely helped me out a lot, and that's also mentioned in the book. So there's a lot of cool features, like I said, in that book. I highly recommend it. And also audiobooks, Audible, great program. And because they're getting sued for the Quebec government, we get 2 free audiobooks. Yay. I don't know if you knew that, but
I did not.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. So what we could do now is I'm going to unmute everybody and kind of let you guys chime in and see what, if you guys have any questions, comments, how we can improve, what did you guys like out of this, and kind of go from there. So again, thanks everyone for chiming in. And what I'll do is, obviously, I have all your contact information. I'll be sending you guys another email. Probably the next call will be within the next month or so. I'll let the holidays go by, and then we can kind of go from there. So again, thanks everyone for chiming in. Please feel free to slap us with some comments.
I got a question actually with regards to the results segment, which we were talking about. So although you only want results and quote unquote, you don't really look at the steps on how to, do you, let's say, for example, how can I put this? Some way or somehow figure out a way to track what you do in order to see the results that you get. So I'll give you an example. That person or your salesperson that landed that $2 million contract, does he know exactly what he did to land it so he can, I guess, just repeat, rinse, repeat, redo, rinse, repeat kind of thing? Like, is it, or are you just, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly.
I understand what you're saying, Giuliano. One of the things that I can say to that is the more metrics that you have in your life or / business, the more you can track it and the more that you know. A lot of the problems that a lot of people have is that they don't track anything, and that doesn't leave any breadcrumbs or any clues, because success leaves clues. So if you do have success and you do leave some clues behind, then obviously you want to maybe try to redo those. Or the other thing too that I like to say too is, if somebody else is doing it and it's working, why not copy it and make it your own? To me it's unfathomable that Sears is going out of business when they had the e-commerce platform in a book 20 years ago. It's the same fucking model as Amazon today, just that they didn't follow the technological curve. So, Amazon just took that and spiced it up in today's environment, and now they're on top. So that's why I'm saying too. So I guess my answer to your question would be, obviously, yes, track what you're doing, and if you did something really well, rinse and repeat and try to improve on it. Yes.
Okay. Second question. So although you're the position you're in right now as a CEO of your bowling company and all that stuff, your days are obviously filled up with, I would assume, quote unquote, fires and putting out fires or trying to become a little bit more, how can we say, more effective or more efficient with your business processes. But maybe you or Jonny could answer this. What did you guys do at the beginning? Like, what were your days spent like doing? What were you doing like at the beginning? What were your days like? How were you scheduling them? What were you working on? Were you like 8 hours of learning about the business? Was it like 2 hours of researching customers? Like at the beginning, what were you guys mainly doing? Because right now, obviously, you're trying to develop, you're trying to be more efficient, you're trying to develop different processes. But someone like myself, that I'm just starting off, where should that time be allocated?
I'll let you start, Jonny.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay.
I'll go ahead.
You'll think about it a bit.
Oh no, I know what I gotta say.
8 hours. That's funny, Giuliano, because that wasn't the case.
But I'm just
18,
saying, like, that's a time block. Like I trust me, like right now I'm obviously working more than 8 hours, but my point is like, where were your time? What was the first 2 hours of your day? What was the next 2 hours? Or then, like, did you say, you know what, the next 8 hours I'm working on this, and the next 2 hours I'm working on this, and next, or was it literally just flying by the edge of your seat?
No, at the beginning, honestly, when I started in the business, 2005, when I graduated from college, moved back to Montreal, and my dad said, "Hey, come work for the company." I was gonna send some CVs out and try to get a job as a computer programmer somewhere. I had a job at Bell for a little while, and then I let that go, and I joined the company. And my dad didn't really coach me into saying like, "Here, do this." So I kind of just went with the flow, and I kind of saw where there were some problems with the company at the time. Not problems, but like things that I like from an outsider. Like if an outsider comes into your business, they'll say like, "Well, why do you do it like this? Why don't you do it like this instead?" So it kind of gives you like a bird's eye view of some stuff. So I kind of took that approach at the beginning, and then started to try to implement it. And it's always difficult in a business environment because you got people with 20 plus years experience in our industry, so you always have to break through that barrier. But really the big thing is learn your craft to start, and also it might sound corny, but become an expert in your field, and that will give you credibility that will enable you to do a lot. And I think that's one thing that has definitely helped me, is that I've done a lot of training in and out of the business aspect of the bowling business, but just in general, like just trying to learn a lot, and also like just doing this just adds to credibility as well. So there's a lot of things that go into owning your skills and yeah, just trying to learn as much as you can. So whatever business you're in, Giuliano, just learn as much as you can. Learn from your competitors, learn from your peers, and really just try to grow with it. But yes, that is going to take a lot of time out of your schedule, obviously, at the start. But doesn't mean that you can't squeeze that into maybe an 8-hour time block, because at the beginning I didn't have all these tools. I didn't read all these books. We're talking 12 years ago. A lot of this stuff that happened to me recently is within the last 2 years. So doesn't mean that you've been in the business for 10 years. Doesn't mean that you can't do a massive pivot and change. And that's a big piece of the puzzle, in my opinion. So
to answer your question, it was about 18 and a half hours a day at the beginning, which you burn out on, so to speak, and you quickly realize you can't sustain that pace, and you search for ways to make it better. You find people, you learn techniques, you read books, and you realize that a lot of the stuff also that you thought was important. We used to have to-do lists here at the gym, and we'd create huge to-do lists and just knock stuff out, and then after, all of a sudden, we're like, "Oh shit, man, the big stuff isn't done." It's you just learn, and at the beginning you're doing it all, man. I don't know if that's necessarily right. The way it was for me was I was kind of thrust into this because of an opportunity where the gym was up for sale and I took it. The planning wasn't what I wanted it to be. I hadn't had enough preparation. It was kind of like, well, you got to go now. This thing is already open and you don't have time to prepare. There was no planning. So yeah, I kind of flew by the edge of my seat. You work hard and you figure out ways to make your life better. That's why we're here. That's the best I can tell you. How much time you spend in each place to kind of speak where I am now, and to, again, not try to sound too spiritual. Your heart will tell you where you need to spend the time. If you feel like, you know what, now's the time I got to learn more about Instagram, learn more about Instagram. But if you think, should I be learning about Instagram now? Or, is that, yeah, Mark is just learned what the Instagram's all about. But, if it's like, let's face it, you guys, some of you heard about this from Instagram, from me, and Mark's bread and butter right now is not coming from Instagram. So does he really need to learn about that? Probably
yes.
not. Well, you do, but if you just keep adding stuff on and say, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do that, it becomes so overwhelming. And again, then it becomes a list of priorities. If you're going to go and say, like, right now, I want to spend some time reading, and there are weeks, like, sometimes I don't read as much as I would like. Is it because I'm not scheduling it? No, but sometimes I'm going to spend some other time just maybe doing reflection, or this is a week that I want to spend some time doing some more work on the business. Mm-hmm. Is it quote unquote balanced? Is it always the same amount of time? No. Is it necessarily the best thing? I also am a big believer that I don't want to continue to add more stress to it. I want to make things better by working at it when they need to be worked on, so to speak. So if I have a time where I'm like, you know what, now I really want to tackle Facebook ads, I'm going to go and do that, but I'm going to do it at 100%. So my opinion, it's just an opinion, is spend time where you feel you need to. And there are times where, listen, I'm still training people. I need to learn, what's new and what works, and maybe some stuff that I used to do that doesn't work. So sometimes I'll just spend time reading that, and the spiritual side takes a back seat, and the marketing of the gym takes a back seat, or the app, or yeah, and that's pretty much it.
So to follow up on that, considering that right now, obviously the gym is established, it's there, it's running and going. Jonny, if you take it back a couple of years and go back to Fit for You, or I don't remember exactly what it was, the training company you had. Okay, take it back to those days and forget about so how did back then, what were your priorities? Because right now, obviously, okay, read a couple books, but at the end of the day, I would love to read books and maybe read them at night, but during the day, I got to be hustling and developing the database, or I don't know, sort of implementing some sort of efficient system, or getting clients. And obviously, to make the business run, we got to get some clients to make the business run. Mm-hmm. So, were you focused on mainly promoting yourself at the beginning, or was it a mix of promoting and then at night you would learn more? And just maybe take it back a couple of years, and what would you say about back then?
If it was, if we're gonna go back to Fit for You, when I was just doing the personal training stuff, that was about 2009. I would get in contact with people and just shoot out some messages sometimes, or I would actually ask the people that I was training if they had somebody else, like, hey, do you know anybody that this might benefit? Was I quote unquote hustling on Facebook and stuff? No. I feel like the potential now is much greater for hustling. Not to sound like Gary Vaynerchuk, but I'll give you an example. The girl that I just finished training before found me. Well, I shouldn't say found. I went to go get furniture for my soon-to-be newborn son. Saw the girl there, and she's like, oh, she goes, and I had my Gym Pal sweater on, and she goes, oh, well, what is that? I go, it's a fitness app, and I own a gym. And oh, well, what are the odds? I was looking for a gym. Perfect. So I convinced her on the spot to come. She brought in 2 other people. One of them, because you're talking to them, whatever, one of them said, hey, go check out my trainer's Instagram page. She told this to her aunt, and her aunt commented on one of my videos not long ago. I just decided to reach out to her. I know it's really stupid, but I feel like the potential is there, and you just got to keep trying stuff. Like Mark said, you're going to try something. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Does it mean you don't try it again? I posted up this thing about time management, and everybody who answered, I sent them the message. I posted the poll on Instagram. I posted different polls of like, do you feel fulfilled in your life? Over 5, under 5. And everybody who answered, everybody. If it was over 5, I'd ask you, why is it over 5? And how'd you get that? And if it's under 5, why is it under 5? I ended up by getting, I wasn't even that wasn't the plan. Okay, it wasn't the plan to get more clients. I was just curious as to what makes people tick, because that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I ended up by getting a guy who's coming twice a week, the Phil. I think you know him. He was here on Tuesday. He's reached out. He's just like, yeah, I'm not fulfilled. Why? Well, I'm not training. Okay. And I wasn't searching for a client. And then I said, well, why aren't you training? I'm not exactly sure what to do. I'm like, well, why don't you try group classes? Because I wouldn't be caught dead in a group class. It's not my thing. And everybody has their own thing. So I said, dude, what about a trainer? Well, yeah, that could work. So it was kind of like, well, do you want to sit down? Because at that point, like, you're pretty much telling me you want a trainer. And I'm like, you want to sit down? Yeah, sure. We sat down, and within 30 minutes, he's like, yeah, okay, let's do it twice a week. So I'm not saying it's always like that. It's not saying like it's the girl on Instagram who I just told you about, who commented, and I just responded back to her, and we had a little discussion, and she comes from the West Island. Like, it's stupid, but the potential is there. I think you just you have to connect to people any way you can. And that's honestly what I was doing in 2009. Just try to connect to people. And listen, I've got Mark and his dad because... Through a referral, yeah, from this guy.
That is the name of the game, Giuliano, and everybody else in the room. Referrals is what's going to get you to where you want to go. Because if I tell you, Giuliano, you have to go to this pizzeria because it's the best pizza I ever had, I didn't tell you how much it cost. I just told you to go eat that pizza. You're going to go eat it because you respect my opinion. And you're like, hey, this guy told me it was the cat's meow, so I'm going to go try it. And that's it. So if I say, like, someone, like, we'll keep using the training aspect of it, somebody's like, yeah, I need to get in better shape, that's not, who do you think I'm going to have him call? I mean, I'm going to either give him Jonny's email or maybe... No, I'm just kidding. I'll give it to Giuliano. How's that?
No problem. Look, gee, like, to be perfectly honest, for people who don't know, you also DJ. Listen, I've referred... You got Tony's engagement, right?
Yep.
Like, that was because I was like, Giuliano was the guy that was a DJ at my wedding. You got to, talk to him. You got Joey Morabito. You have some people that we referred just because when people ask, you're like, yo, man, you gotta go talk to this guy. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's gonna book you, but at least you're in that conversation. And I think that the more that you connect and you have a great network of people, yep. you start giving them content like you're doing, like what you're doing on your Instagram page. The traction will come, and in RPM, is it the RPM plan, the time management stuff from Tony Robbins? He gives this great example of skid control. Okay, so he's doing this class with like freaking NASCARs, and the guy tells him, goes, I'm going to make sure that you skid, and when you do, here's what you have to do to regain control. So he goes, yeah, no problems. He goes, you're going to look where you're going, you're going to turn the wheels in the right direction, and he goes, and the tires eventually will catch. He's like, yeah, okay. He goes, I got it. I'm a smart guy. I got it. Puts him in the skid. His car starts spinning out of control, and he doesn't do what he's supposed to do. He looks at the wall instead, which is the last thing you want to do because that's what you're going to hit. And long story short, what he goes is, you could be doing everything right. Your wheels could be facing the right direction. You could be looking where you want to go and not look at the wall because that's a bad idea. And he goes, and sometimes the car is still heading for the wall. So you're still heading for disaster. But at the last second, you got to, with a little bit of faith, the wheels catch and the car takes off in the direction you want it to. So sometimes it's just like you're doing everything right, doing everything right, you're like, it's not working. And at one point, it just clicks. So not to sound like you really do have to have a bit of faith, because as you're doing more and more stuff, people kind of see like, oh, wow, this guy's serious. He becomes a reference, a referral that like, okay, you got to go see somebody, go see him. And listen, nobody just woke up with 5 million followers on Instagram. Not that that's the marker of success, but the people who have those millions of followers, it took time. It took time. The people that are making tons of money, unless, I don't know, whatever it is, it still took time.
Yeah, but
Right.
I'm just gonna add to that because of the fact, like you said, like you don't get all these followers on YouTube or Instagram or stuff like that. But what I see from a lot of the guys that I personally follow that have millions and millions of followers is that they still keep in mind the result or the vision that they have of what they want to offer, and also quality. Like Jonny was saying, you have a DJ business, you pride yourself in the quality of the events that you run. That's a huge marker, and that's what's going to give you some referrals. So like all of this stuff basically snowballs and turns into a business one day, and that's going to be your story. And that's the other thing too. Like for us, if you go on our webpage, buffabowling.com, the about section, we did a video about the history of the company and stuff like that. And it means a lot to people, and telling your story may sound corny at times, but it is something that is also great because it it touches a heartstring for some people, and that's that when it becomes emotional, then price doesn't matter, availability doesn't matter, a lot of this stuff doesn't matter because people are invested in you, not the product. So
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot, guys. I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
cool.
Anytime.
Anything else, Karen, Benoit?
Oh, I can offer a few comments.
Cool.
Okay, so I really enjoyed hearing your perspective on things, and it really did reinforce a lot of the same concepts of time management that I already know. So first of all, if you don't manage your time will manage you. So when we talk about scheduling stuff, you have to absolutely schedule things because otherwise you'll just never do it.
Yes.
Also have the integrity to be committed to the time that you schedule. So if you say you're going to be somewhere, have the integrity to be there. Okay. And everyone has time. Like we always hear the story about people who say, oh, I didn't have time to call you. Well, no, people do have the time to call you. It's just not a priority.
Yep.
It means a lot.
Yep.
And I love this talk about vision. So I hope we're going to get into exploring that another time. And I've started a lot of projects from scratch. And what it all came down to was having the vision. And when you have the vision of what you want to create, then when you look at your time and what you're doing, I don't think you can really measure your time. And this is where it gets into a lot of little tasks. But like I started a provincial bowling circuit from scratch because I needed to. I had the vision. It was something that it was burning. I had to do it. And you just go about saying, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. Okay. And then the next day you reevaluate. Okay, that's done. Now I got to do this, this, this. And that time where you just have to set everything up and establish really just becomes the roadmap. It's how you're getting to the vision. So I've never thought of the time invested in starting something as really, do I do this or do I do that? It's you have the vision and you just have to make sure that all the pieces are in place to get there. And when you have the vision, that will drive you. The path will show itself. It will become very, very clear. And the famous expression is, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it one bite at a time, right? and that's the only way to do it.
Nice.
That's a good one. I enjoyed this. Looking forward to more.
Congrats for what you do with the kids. It's great, to be able to give back and what I've witnessed it, what you do with the kids, and
yeah.
It's great. And just a testament to that is also, like you said, vision, and you've made some changes over the last couple of years to the circuit. So year one was at least a foot through the door, and then you kept improving on it, and your vision is probably skewed a little bit from the start, but we'll get into that in the next call. I think we found our subject for next call. I think so. So cool.
Just to I'm going to further iterate one last part where I kind of said before, you got to quote unquote follow your heart, but when you were talking about vision and it falls into that. when you're in it, like Karen said, like the next step just shows itself. And I was listening to some videos last week, 2 weeks ago, and the great example the guy gives, he goes, if you're thinking all the things on your to-do list, it's like, he goes, your heart's like a GPS. Your GPS is going to tell you the next step and the next step only. It's not going to blurt out the next 20 steps at the same time, which is kind of what your mind does. Your mind's going to tell you, you got to do this, and you're like, holy shit, which one do I do? When you're in your element, you already know what the next step is. And it's just, it presents itself. It's going to say like turn right in 400 meters. Like, okay, I'm just going to turn right. And then after you turn right, the next step will show itself. It's not going to blurt out the next 50 for you. So just take the first step. The next one will show up. And I think that's what people tend to forget. So listen to the GPS, one step at a time.
Yep. Great. So again, thanks everyone for chiming in. Please share. As we said, referrals are great, great for everything. So we did have some people that signed up for the call that unfortunately didn't show up. So I'll be reaching out to them, seeing if they had some technical difficulties as well.
I know Hervé couldn't hear us at the beginning. He texted me.
Okay. So I know that sometimes Skype is a little bit tricky when it comes to headsets and microphones, but we'll improve on that, and so will you. So really looking forward to it. So please keep my email handy. Please like us on Facebook. I will probably start up some sort of fan page or something of that nature. Baby steps to get started, and obviously any criticism or comments that you guys have to help us improve. This video will go up on YouTube probably tonight or tomorrow morning, and hopefully we get some traction from there, and hopefully this turns into something pretty neat where everybody can get a little something out of this. So again, thanks for your time. I'm truly grateful to be here with you guys. And I'm extremely grateful that you guys are ecstatic about this. When I saw Giuliano and when I spoke to Karen when you first dialed in, you were like, yeah, I can't wait. Like, this is going to be awesome. And it's like, it's like, fuck, okay. Like, these people really, really want to hear what I have to say. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for the pat on the back. And again, thanks to our wonderful guest and co-host, to be future, hopefully permanent.
I'm there, man. I'm here. All I do now is talk to people. I podcast, and it's really fun. So
yeah,
I get
your podcast real quick.
Oh, the £1,000,000 Pounds, man. I'm available on iTunes and SoundCloud. Soon Spotify, I think. I got to put it on Spotify. Not many people are using SoundCloud. Yeah. So the goal to help Montreal lose £1,000,000 pounds.
There you go. And
might be on TV shortly, man. I got some good news. So yeah. We'll see. Yeah, maybe on.
I got 40. I'll donate.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so the link is on the website. It's on the www.themillionpounds.com. Is that link up there, Mark?
Yeah, it's on the top right.
There you go. So you can donate through there, and it's on Facebook. So you'll see the page, and the videos will be videos of the podcast are up there. I'm gonna start putting the links directly to the podcast, I think, too. So that'll help out.
Yep.
So some interesting stuff in terms of weight loss and different trainer techniques and stuff on there. So thank you.
Cool. All right, everyone. Thanks so much again. We went a little bit overboard, but obviously it's for a good cause. So hope you guys really appreciated this. Hope you guys improve. Definitely check out some of those referrals that we gave you guys. RPM, which is Time of Your Life from Tony Robbins. Great program.
That's it.
4-Hour Work Week we mentioned. Was there anything else we mentioned? You can sign up for Tim Ferriss's blog, which is pretty impressive too. So definitely check that out too. So again, everyone, thanks so much. Have a great night. Sleep tight, and please share, like, and do all the good stuff so we can get a bunch more people on this call. All right?
Thanks a lot,
Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Everyone. Cheers. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.